Perfect, perfect. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Love Me, Know Me, and Grow Wealth, which is going to be a virtual panel this evening, and it's created by me, Tia Upshaw, the CEO of Black Women in Excellence, and it was created for Black women, women of color, and from the marginalized communities to have real conversations around and about money, mindset, and self-worth. And again, I'm your host. So, but before we jump into tonight's conversation, just a few housekeeping items or tips I want you guys to pay attention to. Please put all your microphones on mute. I appreciate it if you would. Use the chat box throughout the conversation. I'm going to encourage people to drop your thoughts or questions in there. If you have any statements you want to make, throw them into your chat box. And towards the end of the panel, we will have an opportunity for some, not everybody, not 60 people, but some people to be able to ask, a question, a Q&A to who they want to ask it to, or to the four panelists. And this session is being recorded, as I just stated. Excuse me. And feel free, you don't have to have your cameras on. This is not a 16-week startup program with Tia or a workplace education program with Tia. You don't have to have your cameras on. So feel free to turn them off, or you can keep them on if you want us to see your beautiful faces. And one last thing, to me, I'm really big on this, even though it's being recorded. It's a safe space. There's not going to be any judgment. The minute I feel like there's judgment or something's going on, or side eye or anything like that, you'll be removed from the panel of being, a person watching. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to support one another. Especially as Black women and women of color. So let's lead with love and respect and openness. So let's jump in. Tonight's conversations are not just about budgeting or investing, that boring stuff that I know Takia and Ava love, but it's about healing, breaking cycles, generational cycles, and stepping fully into your financial power as a woman. So for far too long, as many of us already know, we've been taught to survive and not thrive. And we're getting rid of that in 2025. To stretch every dollar, stay quiet about your debt, stay quiet about even what you make in a year, to carry the weight of our families and our communities without ever being taught how to build wealth for ourselves. And I want to say I'm trying my best to rewrite that story. And we're going to do that by starting tonight. You're going to hear from four incredible women. They all have a special place in my heart, each and every one of them, who are not only experts in their fields, but they are also walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to turning pain into purpose and a mindset into money moves. And I'm proud to have each and every one of them here tonight. They're going to be sharing their personal journeys, drop some real tips, real golden nuggets that you'll be able to take into your life right after you log off of here tonight. And they'll also remind you that you don't need permission. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful, paid, and at peace. So whether you're just starting your financial journey or you've already, started looking at your money goals, or you're going through debt consolidation or whatever it may be, this space is for you tonight. So take lots of notes, ask questions, use the chat, and most importantly, please receive all the information that's being given. So let's get into it. Oh, Takia, Megan, Tanya, and Ava. Let's do a brief introduction for each and every one of you so that the audience gets to know who you are and what you do professionally. Who wants to go first? I'm going to just pick Takia then.
Okay. So my name is Takia Panza Benjamin. I am the owner of TPB Consulting Limited. So it's a financial consulting company. I'm also a financial broker. So I'm like Tia said, I'm in that world of budgeting, debt management, all of that stuff. That's fun for me. I also teach financial fundamentals to business owners and their employees for workplace education as well. And I just started my own nonprofit that you'll be seeing more of it because I'll be going into communities and teaching financial literacy and working, doing a tremendous amount of work with women. And that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Takia. And Ava?
Sure. My name is Ava Kochnoff. I am the sole proprietor of A Kochnoff Financial Services. I've been in the financial services industry for 18 years. And before that, I was an occupational therapist in mental
Okay,
health.
because I said
So
that
my
watch is for free.
Can everybody please
Okay,
mute
but
your
we do.
microphone? Lord, Father. Go ahead.
It's all
Sorry.
good. It's all good. Not at all. Not at all. I was just saying that with my mental health background, I find that I bring a really unique focus to my practice because as we're going to be talking tonight, there's a lot of shame around money. There's a lot of fear around money. And a lot of my clients are women who I have helped witness, help them make the journey from not knowing what they're doing to feeling powerful and in control. And it is such an amazing privilege to watch that for myself and my practice and with all the women clients that I help. And so my joy is to have this opportunity to talk with all of you, answer your questions, help you understand that you don't have to feel like you have piles of money to talk to a planner. We have the right. You have the right to take control of your finances, and you have the right to know where can you go and find your person, because that's what this is all about tonight, is to help all of you that come onto this call know that each of you deserve that right to feel in control and at peace with your money. So that's my joy for you folks, and I'm here to answer whatever questions you might have. So thanks, Tia. Thanks everybody for tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then we have, we'll do Megan.
So I am Megan. I am the owner of Halifax Charcuterie, Better Life Productions, but I also work as a senior financial advisor at Scotiabank as well. Been in banking for 7 years. I say if you're always going to have a job, the financial industry has the best perks out of any employer I've been at. Yeah, I'm just here, want us to kind of piggyback off what was said. Money is emotional, whether you have a lot of it or you want more of it. So kind of taking that approach when it comes to money and just kind of imparting a lot of the knowledge that we learn kind of within the industry and training and different things, taking that into community with like friends and family, and kind of the role I'm in now. I have the opportunity to really help people that I know for sure, and then also help like the wider community with their finances, now being a financial advisor. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation tonight and all of us kind of sharing all the knowledge we have with you here and then moving forward as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And then we have Tanya.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so feel so privileged to be here, honestly, in this space. My name is Tanya McHarg. I have been a registered social worker now for coming up on 23 years. Your girl thought I was going to be 20 forever, and now I've been in the field for so long. But I love the work. I am the owner of Healing on Purpose Therapeutic Services. I'm a clinical specialist with the Nova Scotia College of Social Workers, and I specialize in trauma, everything healing. And I think what makes me, what makes this work so personal and so meaningful to me, that I've been able to do it for so long, is I've been on my own healing journey for a long time. I probably started therapy when I was 19 and then got real serious about 15 years ago. And yeah, I really just, it's a privilege to walk with other individuals who are wanting to take a deep dive and really live differently. Trauma impacts every area of our life. So certainly talking about the finances, when Tia reached out, I'm like, absolutely. I also have my own story around the money piece and, walking on a university campus with my 3-year-old in hand at the time. He's 24 now. And I couldn't afford tuition and rent and food. So I was going to the food bank on campus at the University of Calgary. So your girl's been there, done that. I grew up in government housing. I know what it's like to not have food, not have the basics. So the trauma started early. But lucky for me, my healing journey also started early. So it's just a privilege to support other people in doing the same. So very happy to be here.
All right, thank you very much, Tanya. I can't wait till we dive in. So let's wait no longer. The first question is going to go out to Takia. And I love this question. Takia, how can Black women or women of color begin to lead in their finances and not just survive? What is your opinion and thoughts on that, Takia?
Um, that's such a good question. As Black women, I think that we're so powerful. We are so talented. We have all of the things we need to succeed. And I think the one thing we need to do in terms of just leading is, and especially with our finances, is just come up with plans. We plan for dealing with our kids. We plan for what we're going to do with our house. We have to start planning for what we're going to do with our finances well too. And having it be strategic, like knowing what today's finances is, like the cost of living just keeps, it's just going to keep going up. It's just that's just how it is, right? And with all of the I know everybody's watching the news and watching what's happening even with the US, right? So like just knowing that if you learn, and knowledge is power, if you learn what's going on with today's finances and how to manage it, then that's a starting point, you know? So when you come along with your strategy, you start there and just start taking more of these type of things where you're coming into spaces where you're learning about investing, you're learning about like how to budget your money properly, you're learning about saving properly. And I think that's the starting point there. It's just kind of just being intentional what you want to do. And that's going to help you, not just you, but your kids. Because with my kids, when they start talking, they're talking about investing. They don't talk about, okay, occasionally my son will be like, hey, he doesn't want to like he's just like your daughter's here. He doesn't want to spend his money. He's just like, Mommy,
Terrible.
can we go to the store and can you buy me this? And I'm like, no, you have your own money. He doesn't want to spend it. He wants to save it. He wants to put it aside. And like I think what we also need to start doing in our communities too is just trying to help build that community wealth, and that is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
It's that there's things like group investing that just organizations in Ontario that are doing it. They're Black led too. Everybody a part of it is doing it, and they're helping each other grow and strive, right? And so we just need to kind of come together more in that capacity because we can do it.
100%. I remember, I think Megan, remember that I sent an email out a few years ago about doing that group investing, creating a group where we're all putting money in a pot and then each individual can pull it every month, right? And it never went anywhere. So, I'm glad it's working in Ontario and maybe someday it will kind of work down here. I know in the Nigerian community, they do it a lot. In Nova Scotia, they go hard with that grouping when it comes to finances and helping every individuals out. So we'll see what happens, but I love the idea. I'm not going to close the door on it. Even if somebody, if there's like 3 people out there right now on this tonight and say, okay, Tia, we're not going to do it through Black Women Excellence. We could call it a different initiative and, come together and throw money into a pot. I'm all for it. So something to think about. Thank you very much for that feedback, Takia. I really appreciate it. Now, I do have a question, I'm going to say Megan. I'm going to do Megan. That's because where Megan works in the bank, but she's also an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is not a business person per se, because there's a difference between having a business and being an entrepreneur. Megan has taken major risks. She has, oh my goodness, validated her business ID. She has a new business that she just recently launched. So Megan, here's the big question. How are you able to invest in yourself, and that could be through spiritual, physical, financial, but how are you investing in yourself, and how has that changed the game for you as an entrepreneur, Megan?
Ooh, so I won't say the queen of burnout, but I was like comfortable in burnout. And you really, being comfortable in burnout should never be something that you say. Meaning that, like, I knew when it was coming, I knew when I was at the tipping point and kept pushing forward. And now my slogan is rest before it's required. And I tell everybody rest before it's required because your body will sit you down eventually. And I mean, as women overall, we know we have there's a lot of autoimmune diseases now being diagnosed or just things that we just keep holding on to or keep pushing past, knowing it's too much. So now I really try to like go hard on the days that I know I can, but I'm very very, very particular about the rest day is a rest day. And it is hard. I promise you it's hard to just really sit and do nothing. My boyfriend's like, did you really do nothing or were you like doing content planning? And I was like, no, I watched movies all day. And it's on my bingo card. That's how serious it was, or how serious I was not taking it, so that I had to make it a goal, which maybe that's the Capricorn in me. We're very goal oriented people, but being able to kind of shift from that go, 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 that's kind of like, that hustler mentality. But I really don't subscribe to that. I think that's a farce. I don't think you can really give the best of yourself and pour into your businesses or even pour into your work or even be smart financially if you're running on fumes day in, day out for weeks or months on an end. So pouring into yourself might look like coming here tonight, being around other Black women. It might be like for me, it's collaborating with other local businesses that are in the self-care space. So like I love the Wine Spa. They're not Black owned, but they're women owned. Or like buying from Natural Butter Bar. They have great products, and I love kind of pampering myself with them at home. So it's although there's still like a little networking aspect to it, it's still I'm getting my like fix of like, you know, I'm networking, I'm still working a bit, but I'm still able to care for myself, build those connections, and to discover new things that can help me still kind of stay down those down days, but hit the ground running. But I've promised myself that I can't half-ass the days I'm working, and that's kind of like the biggest thing. I think some other people like there were days before I was half-assing the working days. So on the rest days, I felt like I can't rest. I didn't do enough. So the days now I really plan out structure between different mentors I've had. Thankfully, like Tia's one of them, just kind of knowing how to build out the days and build out the times where you need to go, but making sure like when it's time to, you know, sit down or travel, I do so with like my full chest, 10 toes, like
Wow.
I need to recoup and recharge. And so take the rest. Do not feel guilty. And if you feel guilty, ask yourself why is that you feel like you haven't done enough. If you haven't, go back and rework the plan.
100%. I agree. I really love that, Megan. Go back and rework the plan. I love it. Thank you for that. Now we're going to go to Ava. Here's the thing. You know, when people talk about investing, I remember when you were on Tuesdays with Tia a few weeks ago, and that's actually what prompted this whole panel, you guys. Right after I was sitting with her, listening to her, and we were chatting, I come home and I think I sent her an email and said, I'm looking to do a panel. You want to be a part of it? Literally, you don't have to have a lot of money to invest. And I remember saying to her and Crystal Garrett on set that I started investing with just $5. So
Yeah.
the question here is beginner friendly ways of starting to invest in 2025. Do you have any tips? Do you have any, you know, statements behind what could be beginner friendly? And what does that look like?
Really good question, Tia. You know, I'll take it back though a step. Like if you work with someone like myself, before we even talk about investing, right? I need to make sure that you know your cash flow, right?
Mm.
Because just like dieting, saving and investing, it's a new habit. And in order to do it right, you got to have everything right beforehand. And what I mean by that is I never want to start someone on the journey of investing and saving for you to then have to pull back and go, Ava, I can't do it. I can't afford it. And because what does that do? It just perpetuates the shame, right? It just makes you feel less than. And so the real important part about, you know, how do you become investment friendly or investment ready is that you get to know your numbers. And when you know your numbers and you know that, like you said, when you've got bigger goals for yourself, like when you want something more than just to survive, when you want to find your joy, like, because that's what it is for me, right? Like, how do I get women to want to save? Because it's more than just them, because that's what it is about us as women. We put ourselves third place, fourth
Always.
place, right? All the time. And so to get to that place of investing, I got to find out with you, what's your why? You know, are you saving for, you know, to take your kids on a trip? Are you saving to, you know, your kid is graduate? It's always someone else, right? And so eventually we get to a place where we look at your joy, which is, you know, to be able to, you know, buy your first car, to be able to afford your own house, right? And so part of all of that is getting to know your numbers. So once I know your numbers, then we start looking at, you know, what's your situation? Because that's the thing. It's not a cookie cutter. It's not me saying, okay, Tia, you're going to open up a tax-free savings account, or you're going to open up an RRSP, or you're going to open up this. We got to know what is your background. So do you have a job? And in your job, is there a matching program where you can participate? Because that's free money on the table that so many people give up, right? So it's so important, all these background questions to answer your first question, which is how do you start? And then you got to find, I personally feel the place to start is to find someone who will care enough to talk to you with respect and to explain. Like some people come in my office and they go, I don't want to know nothing. I just want you to help me get to my goal. And that's fine. I got other people who say, Ava, people always talk above me. And will you talk to me, with me, and help me understand? I have people that say, I'm really bad with math. Guess what? You don't have to be a math expert to be able to invest, right? And so once we know all that background, for most of my clients, what's important for investing, are you ready? It's not even, what vehicle, it's understanding you with your head and your heart. Because for some people, $5, it terrifies them to lose it in the market, right? For some people, you can add a whole bunch of zeros, and even though they're making lots of money and they've got money in their bank account, the fact to put it in the market right now, terrifying. Because I don't know if many of you have money invested, but in the last 3 weeks, I've had clients who started the year with me with, like, let's say $10,000. And in the last, thank you to you know who down south, that $10,000 has now gone to 8,000. And that's terrifying for some people. And the
Yeah.
reason why it's terrifying is because their head and their heart, even though they understand the markets and they understand investing, it's still your money. It's still your money. And it's really important for us as your planners to know how your relationship is with money, Tia. And so really it's a real loaded question, but for me, you start with each of you, and we get to know you, and we get to know what's important, and to help you understand that investing doesn't have to be scary. And it's about making sure that we're meeting your head and your heart together, because there's nothing worse than starting to save and you don't understand what's going on, and then you need your money and the markets have dipped and your units are worth less. So right now I'm doing a lot of jargon, people, but what I'm talking about is mutual fund investing. And so what's really important for you folks is, as I always say, is find the person you want to take advice from, and they are there to guide you. We get paid. People don't understand things like how does Ava get paid? How does people at the bank get paid? How do we all get paid to invest your money? And you have the right to ask me, Ava, how do you get paid? And so really you asked me a loaded question, girl, that can take me a whole hour and a day to go through. But
Well,
I
my
hope
first thing was I was hoping you were going to blast off with this because you're a little fireball. The best ways, beginner friendly ways of investing is investing in yourself to make an appointment with you.
well, I wasn't gonna do that, but yes, my love, you gotta find, I told you, there's so many of us, you gotta find your person, right?
Yeah.
And you have to find a person that, here's what I'll tell you. It's no different than your hairdresser, no different than your mechanic. You deserve to have your financial advisor treat you with respect. I don't care if you have $5 or put a whole bunch of zeros behind you. You deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, and not talking down at you. And I can tell you, you were asking about trauma and journey with money. I'll never forget, because we always remember when people make us feel less than, yeah? And so I'll never forget being, at a financial institution and feeling less than, um and that is not okay. And each of us have the right, financial empowerment, it's about agency. And what I mean by that is you have the right to have the power, and you got to know that even though you feel like you don't have power, you do. Every dollar you work for, you deserve to be able to sit across from a planner and ask questions. And so for me, Tia, absolutely. The right way is not about how much, it's about find your person, make your appointment. Like if you've been like, okay, this is my year, 2025 is the year that I'm going to start saving, or 25 is the year that I'm going to do this goal. Well, to get to that goal, you got to walk through the door and find the person you want to work with and interview them. Ask them questions. Have you worked with someone like me? Tell me if you've taken care of someone like me. Have you helped someone come out of debt? Have you helped someone get to their goal? And how did you do it? You have the right to ask those questions. We all do, right? And you
Absolutely.
have the right to ask, how do you earn a living here? You have the right to ask. And I think that's what women feel less than. They feel like you come into the bank, and I don't mean to pick on the bank, but you come into certain institutions and you feel like there's a power differentiator, and you feel like, oh my gosh, you're in a foreign environment. But you know what? You have to remember, for some people, I've got clients who come in with a list. They come in with their questions so that when they're asking that, because money is emotion, right? It's like eating. And so people get emotional in my office. There's always a Kleenex box and chocolate. Those are two fundamentals in my office, chocolate and Kleenex. And together we go through your story. We find out who you are with your money. And then we walk through that journey. And Tia, you are absolutely right. You don't need to come into someone's office with $5,000 to invest. If you're willing to start, and we're at the right place for you to start. And what I mean by that is you got to know your numbers. Like, you got to know what money comes into your house, what your responsibilities are to your family and yourself, and then what's left, right? And then from there, we get into the guts of, what kind of investments, and are you an aggressive investor? Are you a conservative investor? And there's all kinds of jargon in my industry, but yeah, like I said, I can talk all
Perfect.
day because I love it. So I'll stop now.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. And this is a segue right into the question I have for Tanya, because you were talking about how you were made to feel in a financial institution. So Tanya, girl, what are some of the signs that you can feel, you can see, you can really get a vibe from when someone needs to heal their relationship with money?
Yeah. Such a good question. First and foremost, it needs to start with you healing your relationship with yourself.
Huh?
Real talk, I wasn't able to get my money right to purchase a house, to invest, to purchase my first vehicles, all of that stuff until I got my relationship right with myself. And I don't want to say it in such a way that it's something that you do and it's complete and you put a bow on the box and it's over here. Relationship with self is ongoing, right?
Yes.
We're always doing that work. There's no end to that. And so there have been periods in my life where money's up and money's down. But what doesn't change in that is my sense of self-worth, because I know that my worth is not tied to how much money I have or don't have. Truth be told, life's a little bit easier now that I don't need to go to the food bank. I grew up on that. I raised kids on that. That was hard. My kids are 27, 24, and 15 now. So they know what that looks like. But really, it's about, relationship with self. When you come from a place, and we talked about it a little bit maybe before everyone came in here, we have to look at intergenerational trauma, because it certainly plays a huge impact on our relationship with self. And then our relationship with others, our relationship with money is a part of that, right? So we need to look at the intergenerational trauma, and it might not even be things that you're even aware of, but it's stuff, and you mentioned it earlier, Tia, that we were brought up on. For example, I can't throw food out.
Yeah, me too. They're in butter containers, they're in Tupperware containers.
Yeah, I can't.
And I can throw it out. I'll be honest, I'll throw it out days later, but I should be throwing it out immediately because I know I'm not going to eat it. But in my mind, I might need that food, and I will not discard it until it
Yeah.
got fuzz or fur on top of it.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because I grew up with 6 siblings. We're all in the same house. We have different kind of like money traumas, and I'm someone that doesn't want to throw the food out. I will now. I mean, I've done the work for quite a while. I don't like to. It brings something up in me. I'm triggered when we're going to be throwing the food out. Then I have a brother. He's the opposite. He saves nothing. Whatever we don't eat, we're throwing it out because he doesn't want people to think he's poor. There's a stigma like, oh, you're hoarding, you're holding on to the food, So he's the other kind of pendulum. So
Wow.
trauma shows up for different folks in different ways, but I would say, if you're someone who's always hoarding, for example, you never want to look at your bills. You're not really looking at your bank statements. You're avoiding paying your bills. You're always late with things. You're purchasing things that you have no business purchasing because you can't afford it. So in therapy, I had someone talking about they were homeless, didn't have a place to lay their head, but they actually put a down payment on a BBL. you know, you have some trauma happening,
Yeah, there's a lot of trauma there.
right? So for me, it's like, okay, you like really, really make sure that your priorities are straight. But again, it all comes back to are you doing, not have you done, like it's finished, but are you repairing the relationship with self? If you have low self-esteem, low self-worth, you know, you're someone who believes that your sense of worth is tied to the money, the job titles, all of that stuff. Your money's never gonna, it's never gonna be right. You're always going to be grasping, you're always going to be struggling, you know, that sort of stuff. So I really just encourage folks to like do your work to heal you, you know, and the money will come. All this other information that we're getting, it's like, yeah, there are strategic steps that you can take, you know, and I've done all of that as well, you know, with investment and all of it. But I really feel like it starts with repairing the relationship with self,
Absolutely.
understanding the role, you know, family as well. What you were brought up on, that intergenerational stuff's really important because we all receive messages, you know, like my father is, he's almost 82 years old now, you know, beautiful Black man. When he married my mom, like, you know, he tells me the story of like not being able to, you know, not being able to like write out his name because he couldn't read and write. He signed his name with an X. They went into the bank to get a loan for their first house, couldn't get the loan, even though my dad was making pretty good money working for Irving at the time. My mom went in with her brother, who was white, posing as her husband, and got the loan. So we have to also look at the whole role that systemic racism, anti-Black racism also plays. Just like Abby was saying, there are so many layers and things to consider.
Right.
I'm always going to start with relationship with self and trauma first, and then from there you continue to do the work and build out. And
Yeah, I
eventually it
appreciate
will
that,
lead to
Tanya.
getting your money straight. Yeah.
Yeah, even listening to you, and you know, when you always talk about starting with self first and everything you do, it's
Yeah.
all centered around and grounded around self. And I truly believe it. I believe that because if you don't get yourself right, there's nothing you can do to fix anything on the outside. You have to be okay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love listening to you all the time, Tanya. Anyways, we're gonna do a question. This is for everybody because this question is gonna be different for everybody. And here it is. For all panelists and whoever wants to jump in first can, and then so on. What's your definition of wealth and how has it evolved for you over time? Big one, A.
What a good question. I just stopped, so I'm going to hold my tongue, but I definitely have something I want to say about that.
I could
I,
go.
oh,
You
go
want to
ahead,
go,
go
Ava?
ahead, hon. It doesn't matter to me. I'm a big talker, so I'll take over. So you go ahead.
Okay. So for me, for a very, very long time, like wealth meant status. Like just like Tanya was saying, it was all about that status, right?
Yep.
For me, that's shifted quite a bit, and now it means freedom, right?
Mm,
And it's the freedom for me to take care of myself, my family, and even help others in the community if I can, right? That's what it means to me now. Like it took me a while. It was a long journey getting there because growing up, that's what was instilled in me was gaining it to gain that status, right? And um it took a lot of just self-reflection to say, well, what is it that I actually want? You know, and not see things through my parents' eyes or, you know, anybody else in my family's eyes. So that's where I'm at right now. For me, money, wealth is freedom and having the freedom just to be me and having the freedom just to do what I want to do and be happy.
We align. We align, Takia. That's me. We align. Ava, you're up. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, wealth, you know, when I don't know, it's kind of this trajectory of time, right? When you're younger, when you don't have a car and you don't have a house and you don't have, right? So you're thinking that that's what wealth is and that's what wealth is. And for me, um, you know, wealth is peace. Yeah. It's that if you're in a bad relationship, you have the wealth, you have the ability to leave it. If you're in a job where it's a toxic work environment, you're able to leave it, right? Like wealth is for me, it's evolved to be more than money. It's about what I bring to my child because wealth for me, now that I've got my kid and her education, that my priorities have changed, right? And you know, I've lost people in my life, and I've watched people who have had lots of money, and you know, when they died, none of it matters, right? And so wealth is just, oh girl, it's such a different thing, and it's, I guess, where you are in your life, right? In your life journey. And for me, wealth is about what you talked about, like these experiences with your girlfriends, and you know, Tia, like I see it in your life that you're leading, right? It's about community. It's about doing more than you. It's about helping the next person. And that's why I decided to open my own business, is because I believe in my heart of heart that each and every one of us deserves financial literacy. And when you have that, because that's what life is about. We live in a world where money moves the world, yeah?
Yeah.
And so it really does. And we are made to feel less than. And as a woman, you know, I was told when I was young, Ava, you've got two strikes against you. You're a woman, and you're a woman of color. And that stuck on me. And you know, like, it's true, right? If wealth for me is about knowing that money is not who I am. My net worth is more than that. It's my money is my tool. Money is what gives me the ability of choices, to have the freedom to take care of the community that I have, to be generous with the people that I love. It, like, wealth for me is just so much richer and wider, and that's what I want to pass on to everyone else. Like, that's why I'm in love with money, is because I want everyone to feel the way that I do, to feel when you go to bed at night, you go to bed with peace. And
Mhm.
that's what wealth is for me.
I can resonate
Peace.
with that a little bit, because if I didn't have the finances that I had, I wouldn't be able to do the community impact portion of my work, right? When you're able to
Yeah.
have that freedom of being financially secure in your personal life, and in your businesses, you're able to start, you know, something on the other side where you can create that community impact and lift as you climb. But if I wasn't okay financially, I wouldn't be able to take that on. So I can resonate with that also. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, I mean, I'm just waiting to hear from Tanya and Megan on that one. Who's jumping in?
Megan, are you going, girl?
I will go. Okay. So I will say younger. Younger me was like teenage me. I think wealth was definitely just money, like literally dollars in the bank. Foolishly in a checking account. Now I'm like, there's no interest there. Why would I do
None.
that? But now wealth is health. It's cliche, but the amount the amount of things that start from like stress or not sleeping well or not eating well, that like your body will just, it's a downturn that happens quickly. I Health really is wealth. And for me, it's, I would say I'd be the poorest rich person, because I don't, even though I don't, well, I do have, but at times I didn't. I'm still giving away. I'm still, donating here. I'm still the people on the streets looking for food, or I'm just like, yeah, here, I'll get more of it. So I think it's definitely health. It's doing what I want to do on my own time. I don't like getting up in the morning to come to somebody else's job. That's why I started my
Yes,
businesses.
we
So I
know.
could wake up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and be like, well, let's start my day now. And it's traveling. I love to travel. So being able to just pick up and go, unpaid leave, great. So it's definitely health, traveling, obviously still money in the bank, like still having my money invested, and some maybe more riskier places too. And then just being able to take care of like the generation. So education is taken care of in like maybe one trust fund, and there's land to go around in different places. And maybe like secure the biggest goal is to secure my family's land back. So to be able to go back and acquire the land that was sold off for a bunch of foolala reasons, and take back the land or buy back the land, and then build like a full on like old school homestead. I'm not a farm girl by any means. There'll be people for that, but to have the land, grow my own food, and just have like family, children, whoever running around. And then besides, let's go down to the islands for a couple of days. Let's do Easter here. Let's get the foundation going. So yeah, wealth is definitely community minded. Like it's not just me. It's me and what I can do for others around me.
Oh my goodness, a little bit of resignation there too. I'm loving every comment and view on this. Now we're gonna wait for Tanya to say what she got to say.
Listen, Megan, I'm same as you. Initially, it was about money. My father's voice was in my head. He's like, Tanya, you need to get educated. Of course, he valued education because he didn't have any, and he's like, that's the way that you're going to change things around. You're going to make money. You're going to do the thing. Well, I did that. I did 12 years of university, 3 degrees, dug myself into a lot of debt, got the job, made the money in Alberta, and then 15 years into my social work career, burnt all the way out. High blood pressure, almost a heart attack. My doctor's like, it's coming, it's going to happen if you don't take time off and recover. I swung the pendulum way far too far. And I believed that my worth was tied to the money, to the bag. No one hustled harder than me. No one. And I really held a lot of pride at the time with how much I worked. I was overseeing child abuse for Southern Alberta. I managed a huge team. I did the thing. I was raising the kids. I'm the wife. I'm all of it. It almost killed me.
You're
So
so
it started with, yeah, I want the money. Then once I bought the house and bought the luxury car and did all this stuff and was almost like, was on the verge of like a heart attack, I'm like, oh no, this can't be it. This can't be it. So for me, it started there, but it has evolved into so much more. It has evolved into, I agree with you, Megan, health is wealth for sure. For me, it means health means authenticity, being brave enough to show up every day, being truly who you are, standing on your morals and values, working in a like having the privilege to work in alignment with that. Because so many people, and I was one of them for a long time, working at Dairy Queen, scrubbing toilets and scrubbing floors. Was that my purpose? No, but it's what I had to do at the time to feed my kids. So it is a privilege and certainly wealth for me to show up every day and do the work that I do, support people, move through their traumas, and move to a place of thriving and not just surviving. It's a privilege. That's wealth. You know, Community care, collective care, community healing, that is wealth. Authentic, loving, true, beautiful relationships, friendships, sisterhood, that is wealth. I could go on. We could do a full
I can
workshop
see
on
it.
just, we could go on, we could do a workshop on that question alone, Tia.
Well, you know what? You have a workshop coming up through Thriving, what's it called? Thriving Black. And you can even bring that into that workshop that's happening, I think it's July 12th. I don't have all the dates here, but you guys can go to our, website and see all that if you're looking to find out about Tanya's workshop. I love all your answers because I didn't think that all your opinions and answers would resonate with me. And they absolutely do. So, that I think that says a lot about the sisterhood and community and how we're able to, bounce stuff off of each other. And you don't realize who's listening, who's taking away, who's being inspired and empowered by the words that you're giving. Because I resonate with everything you guys said. I didn't think I would. I thought it was just Takia. My wealth is freedom. Freedom to do whatever I want to do, freedom to help community, freedom to, create an initiative and not ask for no money because I have the money to put into the initiative. But it's actually deeper than that. So I really appreciate that. Now, I was going to ask another panelist a question, but I think I'm going to do this one with regards to everybody once again, and we'll start with Tanya. I want to know, because we're all in different phases of our lives, what money mindset did you have to unlearn to change your worth?
Probably that. I think the big thing that I was defined by money. Like
Mm,
because I was brought up in government housing and was poor, wore the same clothes to school over and over again. Kids had some nasty things to say to me. I mean, I had to deal with the racial slurs, but I also had to deal with the shame around living in poverty
yeah.
because I went to school with kids, yeah, that were in government housing, but also all the white kids up on the hill in the big houses, like, and they made it really. They wanted me to know that I wasn't as good as them. So I had to unlearn that my worth isn't tied to that at all. The other thing that I had to learn is, you know what, that I don't need to struggle. That I'm more and bigger than the struggle. I don't need to struggle. I deserve to live a soft life. That I don't need to always be grinding and pushing and forcing and just, it's like I know now I can never miss the things that are meant for me. And so I can relax and just attract things into my life. That's probably the second biggest thing that I've learned.
Well, I appreciate that. I resonate I'm going to say 90% of what you said, because I remember when I first met you, I was entering my soft girl era, because I've always been that one that wasn't so soft. Now I'm completely different. There's some people on here, like Bernadette has known me since I was a child. I'm a completely different person than I was even 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And it is my soft girl era. Now, my flex and what I find sexy is my hustle. So I enjoy the hustle. I enjoy the grind. I enjoy looking at my tax bracket grow every year. I love seeing my income statements every 30 days, knowing I did the damn thing. But I'm still able to embrace, my soft girl era, and having a partner, not everybody has that, but having a partner that allows me to be in that era. I don't have to be, the businesswoman or, the tough single mother who can do it all when I'm with him. So that's also a blessing too to have. And I just want to mention him because my man is back home and I'm really excited. So I had to put it out there. Now the next one would be I'm going to pick on, Takia there, because Takia always wants to stay quiet. So Takia, what money mindset did you have to unlearn, girl?
Um, so one of the first things I had to unlearn quickly when I started working was the income. I put myself on a self-imposed income cap. I just didn't think
Mm,
that I could make more, right? And so I would get offered 40K for working and be like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's great. That's my cap, right? Because I was like 40 grand. Okay, that's doable. I can make it work. And it wasn't until I really um started in finance and really seeing what the potential was for the money that I could be making. And I also had a sales job for a corporate company as well too. And when my income, I even got scared too. Like I was just like, what's going to happen with my taxes? Because my income started hitting that 120 threshold, and I'm just like, what? Like
oh,
that's
child tax benefit.
possible. Yeah, and it's even with that, I still was very, very I still had this weird feeling of something's gonna go wrong, something's gonna happen, this should not be happening, and that was I don't know if it was from just family or if it was just from, being told by employers this is how much we're gonna pay you. One of the other things I think that kind of was something I had to get over was just my fear of credit, right? Like I I
Yes.
came I came from a country where credit is not a big thing. It's not an issue. Nobody really goes and gets a credit card. And so to come here and walk in Walmart and walk in Canadian Tire and they're offering this credit card, I'm just like, no, thank you. Like, and then realizing, oh wait, I'm invisible without it. So I have to go and get it. So it took me a minute to realize that um, as long as I use it wisely, it's okay.
It's a big one. That I resonate with that 100%. And the when you deal with your finances and understanding your numbers in the back end, and then you're looking at your tax bracket, especially when you're a single parent, right? I don't know how many people on here have been there or are single parents now. When that tax bracket changes, it's great, but all of a sudden your child tax benefit's gone. There ain't no GSTs, there's no carbon rebates, like you don't qualify for any of them. So it's good on one end and it sucks on the other end, but that's a conversation for another day. Thank you, Takia. Ava.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing I had to unlearn was thinking that I should have known everything from the start, right? We think that like it's like everything else. Like we think that you learn about money and how to be good with it from your family. And, just because, my parents, they didn't teach me a damn thing about money. I came out of university with tons of debt and a spending habit because, they gave you lines of credits and so you just spent it for living and whatnot, and so you're trying to manage the debt and a job, and you think that you feel shame because you don't know, and it's that thing of you don't know what you know, right? And so it's like realizing the more that I got into finance and the more that I started talking to clients and giving presentations, I realized that none of us, the majority of us, if I were to look at all 60 that are on this call, how many of us learned about money in school? I would say less than 5%, right? And so if less than 5% of us on this call have gotten something through public education, and if our moms and dads weren't good with money, like mine weren't, well then where do you learn? And why did I think I should have known better? Like, how the hell did I know better? And that's the thing. It's no different than when you start, meeting friends and going to people's houses and you go, oh my God, that's how you communicate? Because in my house, my my father had a temper, and we walked on eggshells, and we had a family persona when he went to work, but when it was in the house, right, that was different, right? And so when you start going out in the world and you're realizing that's not polite or the right way to react. That's not the right way to behave. That's not how you deal with an uncomfortable situation. It's like everything else. It's for me, my younger self was like, how the hell do I learn? And back in the day, I'm going to date myself because back in the day, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was no Mr. Google, there was no Chat GPT. So people didn't talk about sex, Tia. They didn't talk about religion, and they sure as hell didn't talk about money.
Finance, no.
And so do you think that as a woman of color, I could go into the bank? Because, or again, back in the day, that was the only place you could go to, that you could go in and go, can somebody help me? And so that is my old self, right? And now I wish the technology that's out here and the things that are available for us, the big thing that people have to learn now is how to know what is it's like that thing of what's real news, what's real facts, like versus what's garbage and what's bad advice, right? And so it's finding, like Tia, you've got your podcast, so there's podcasters, there's all kinds of people that you can follow. And again, it's just about, for me, it took me a long, long time to figure out money and understand, like, like Tanya talks about, that there's trauma with it, right? And understanding the trauma that I have with my money and breaking it down. And so that is what I got to tell you. In my old life, my younger life, was feeling like I should have known it. And
Uh-huh.
I used to beat myself up for it. And it's like, no, like there's no need, because there are so many of us that are walking around with that shame of, what the hell, I'm doing this wrong. And when we step out of that shame and we go, I want to do this different. When you're ready to step out of that shame and go, I want to do it different, that's
Change.
the time.
Yeah,
That's the change, right? That's the change.
absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really love what you had to say. Megan, um, what about you, darling? She froze?
No, no, no. I think she may have dropped off because she's not on here anymore. She was
Oh,
having issues with the internet, I think.
okay. So we'll wait till Megan comes back in, but I'm just going to move forward with the next question. And because Megan's not here, but I'm going to use this one with Tanya, sorry. Tanya, how did you move past the fear of not being ready and anything that you're doing? Like, how do you get past that? And it's not just around financial, but as a woman as a whole.
Yeah, the first thing I'll say, I just wanted to say a comment about what Abby was just talking about there. I wanted to say, you said step out of the shame, agree, forgive yourself, because we can only do the best we can with the tools, knowledge that we have at any given time, and resources, right? So it's like, forgive yourself. It's okay. We did the best we could, with the information, tools, and resources that we had. And when you know better, you have the opportunity to do better. I wanted to just say that. So I was thinking about it. Sorry, Tia. Ask me again because it's gone.
Oh, girl, we were going to another different conversation. I thought you were
Okay.
going to stick to that, but no, we'll do this next one. How did you move past the fear of not being ready for anything that you
Oh,
entered into?
yeah. And you said it in my introduction, by following my own advice. So one of the biggest things I tell my clients in therapy is do it afraid.
Yes,
Because
put in
nothing
you.
changes if nothing changes. If you keep doing this, you tell me you want A, B, C, D for goals, but you're not showing up day to day any differently, nothing changes if nothing changes. So you want to start the business, you want to go back to school, you want to do the thing, but you're terrified. What if it doesn't work out? Oh, but what if it does work out?
Yes.
Do it scared. Take the leap, take the jump, do the thing. Set the goals, but don't just set the goals, implement said goals, take the steps. So for me, because I was raised up in poverty, I was told I would never amount to anything. I was told I was a dirty half breed. I was given so many disgusting messages when I was a little girl. And I remember as a 12-year-old little girl sitting in the only safe place in my house at the time, which was a tub in the bathroom. I had the door locked and I had the curtain across, and I was sitting there listening to all the craziness. And I said to myself, when I get older and I have my own house, it won't be like this. Did we lose Tia? I'm just
I'm
looking at
here.
myself on the screen. Are you
No,
still, you're here?
we're
Okay.
all here, girl. We're all
Okay.
here.
I'm used to seeing you on the screen next to me when I was talking and you're gone. I'm like, is she gone?
Oh no, I'm still here. Go
But I
ahead.
remember saying to myself when I was a kid, when I grow up, my life is going to be different, regardless of the things that people had said to me. So when people are projecting onto you their fears and insecurities and hatred, don't internalize that. That garbage is not yours.
Your
You
business.
set your goals and you find a way to implement the dream, the goal, do the thing. And that's what I did. Even though the imposter syndrome was there, even though in high school, I moved out when I was 15 years old, working at Dairy Queen, put myself through high school. And I remember people saying to me, you're not going to be able to make it. Not only did I make it, I graduated with honors from high school. And then I went on to university, even though the voice was still there saying to me, you're going to fail out, girl. You're not smart enough for this. You're not good enough for this. All those voices, I still did it. I still took the step. I did it scared. And it's like self-esteem and self-worth, it's like a snowball. It's like you take some steps and you achieve some things and you're like, oh, holy shit, maybe I can do it. And then you try a little more and you go a little further. That's what you got to do. That's what I did. So do it scared is a big piece of advice that I give often in therapy. I used it in my own life and I continue to use it because your girl's scared all the time.
Uh, all
Yeah.
the time. I love it. I have this thing in my on my downtown office, and it says, "Oh, what if it doesn't work?" And it says, "My dear, what if it does?" Because we go through life second guessing ourselves. We're humans, right? And I have a firm belief in, what you just said is how I live day to day, Tanya. I take the risk. I do it scared. I put myself in positions where I'm uncomfortable because I want to grow, and I do it regardless if I know 100% if it's going to work or not. I just do it. And if it doesn't work, I have nothing to lose. But if it does, I have everything to gain.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
like the piece that you talked about. Don't just make the plan. You need to execute it. You need to
Execute it.
implement it. I can't stand when people do a plan, but there's no execution behind. There's no implementation to get to the execution. So you're doing the first step, but we need you to get to the third. We need to get this done. So definitely my brain is your brain tonight, Tanya. I appreciate that. We do have Megan back now. Hey, Megan. Is she saying something or did she leave again? Oh, she's gone. Is she gone again? I think so.
No, she's still there. I think that she's having issues with the mic for her thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Well, that's all right. We're gonna keep it moving. Mm, I don't know who I'm gonna give a choice. Who wants to jump up on this one? How do we shift as Black women? How do we shift from the scarcity to abundance? How do we get away from that's being scared to death and taking that leap to reach that abundance, what we all want, what we all say that's the end game, right? Who wants to jump on it? Or do you guys want me to call you out and say,
I
go ahead, Alva.
I'll start. I'll tell you why, because I've done this with so many women, and it starts with, how, and it's as a woman, it's as a person who wants more for yourself, right? It's knowing your why, like I said. And I'll tell you practically, it's literally sitting down with a paper and pen. It doesn't have to be fancy, and knowing your numbers, like knowing what's coming in, knowing what's coming out. Remember what I told you, Tia, like we make this a big assumption that people are educated on how to make it. And so once you start looking at how you spend your money, like I don't have it in front of me because I brew my own coffee at home. But if you think about that cup of coffee from Tim Hortons or from Starbucks, right? Like I can tell you, if you actually sat down and you looked at that one thing, I know clients that when they're driving to work or they're going to work, they'll buy a coffee because they deserve it or they forgot, they need it or whatever. And so when you start looking at how much you spend on Tim Hortons in a week, in a month, you've just given Tim Hortons $600 in a year, which could have been money that you put aside for yourself and had ready for Christmas. Or was that?
I'm guilty. I hit Starbucks up every day. I give them $5.34 every single day. But that's a part of my soft girl era. That's what I deserve. I want that.
But
It's non-negotiable.
that's right. But that's the stuff, right? Is you got to look at your income in, income out.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're in a different place than you were, say, 30 years ago. Yeah.
Girl,
Right.
just 10 years ago.
Okay,
Not
10 years,
30,
right?
10.
So that's important for people to know where they are right now. And it's that truth telling piece, right? Because the next part is to go separating needs from wants. I think Tanya mentioned that as well earlier in our conversation, where, someone's homeless, but they've got money to spend on this or that. And so you got to look at, I'll pick out do you see this thing? We all have it. Do you know what I call? It's a loaded weapon, because you know what? It's just like food. In the middle of the night when you're stressed or you had a fight at work or you had a fight with your kids or whatever, you're mad and you can't sleep, you pull out your phone because it's right beside your head and you're scrolling. And then you go on Itsy Bitsy or you go on Temu or you go on Sheen. And next thing you know, you've got $100 spent in your cart and you're like, Jesus Christ, what did I spend? What did I buy? And so I tell people, know how to separate your need from your wants. You got to know what is your problem. If it's when your kids are in the car and you're exhausted, everyone's screaming and mad, and next thing you know, you're in McDonald's lineup and you're buying takeout, and because you deserve it because you need the break, but then at the end of the month you're not reconciling your bills. Like it is so hard because everything is instant. The banks, and I don't mean to keep picking on the banks, but we're ready to give out credit. We're ready to give out credit cards. And you have to be really careful with how much debt you take on and what that means when you want to purchase that house or the car or get to the next thing in life, right? So it's knowing your numbers, knowing the difference between your wants and the needs. And that's why I always say to you, if you know your whys, then this stuff, the temptation of spending, you put that picture right in front of you. If it's your kid's face, you put your kid's face right in front of you, like it's on your cell phone. You can't see that on my phone, but scrolled in the front is a picture of my daughter's face because I want to help her get through school without debt. And so that is my why, to keep moving ahead. And you know what? Not eating takeout every day. Can I afford it? Comfortably, but do I do it? No, because instead of eating out every day, I want to be able to give her money so that she doesn't have the debt when she ends school, right? So that's why for me, straight up is knowing your truth. And it's not easy. I told you I've taken and helped women get out of their own way. And it starts with pain. It starts with looking at how you're spending. And it's this thing of, but I deserve this right now, Ava. And I'm like, I've got no problem with you saying you deserve it. But then how do you, with the limited money you have, get to the next place, right? So it's this thing of when you meet me, I'm like your slap in the face, and I don't know how else to say it, but that's what I am, because that's what you need to go, let's smarten up and be better with our money, because that's it. Like, we live in this world where everybody needs a side hustle. All of us are working two jobs, or, working a business and working a job, or just to get to the next place, right? And when you get to that next place, Tia, you can have your Starbucks, or you can do your thing that
Oh,
brings you joy,
absolutely. I am.
right?
That is my joy every
Absolutely.
day. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? And so that's where I want to get people to that next place, but it starts with the truth telling. And sometimes it's not fun. And, like Tanya talked about, you have to forgive yourself. I've got clients that say, Ava, this month was awful. I fell off the saving. And it's like, stop it. Like, at least you know what
Messy.
triggered it. Yeah, you know what caused it, and then what will you do next time better, right? That's the part is, the thing about making mistakes is owning it and doing better for yourself the next time. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Owning it. It is messy. It's a messy part and place to go through until you get to where you need to be, through your abundance, right? Takia, I have a couple of people who want to hear from you the answer on this, girl. So unfortunately, you have to answer it, Takia. How do you shift from, the scarcity to abundance?
Um, I honestly resonate a lot with what Ava just said. Like it really does come down to I feel like it comes down to a mindset change. And it kind of goes back to what even Tanya said. It starts within you, because you can plan out so many things and have it ready to go, but you have to be very, very like intentional with what you're doing.
Mhm.
And it starts with here. And for me, even still, like I as she was talking about going to go get coffee, I take my kids to Starbucks all the time, like, but as a treat, right? Um, but it's one of those things where the way I look at it is I budget like there's no tomorrow. Like I budget, and again, this is my wheelhouse, this is my space. So for me, that's like an everyday occurrence. It's like breathing, right? So I go through it, and I've set up myself on this plan that I can go out and do that, because I have that set as like a discretionary fund. Like I can go ahead and spend that, but you have to be very, very intentional with it. And it takes a lot of discipline. Like, but we have to really talk to ourselves and pump ourselves up, because like Lava was saying, people say that they deserve it, and you do. We absolutely do, but we also have to be very, very conscious of what we're have working with our cash flow. And if it isn't
So
there, we're doing more harm than good.
perfectly said. It is actually true. You have to have that discretionary fund. Some people have one that's maybe minimal. Some people have, a medium set. Some people have a large one, right? But you have to figure out your cash flow. You have to figure out what is really, and I'm not talking about variable expenses or fixed. I'm talking about fixed expenses. I need to know what's going on coming out of my home, what's coming in order for me to keep making what I make, in order to me to live the way I want to live. So I'm really intentional. I wouldn't say I'm as bad as you, well, good as you, Takia, as good as you on budgeting. I'm not. But I look at it as if, I know what's coming in, and I have to make a minimum of so much each month. Or I can't buy my Starbucks for the following month. I know I can't, right? So, I'm really intentional on that part. Um, One of the things I think Tanya brought up, and I wanted to mention, oh no, maybe it was Megan. Did Megan, did you talk about health as well? Or something along that line? Perfect. So I'm going to say this really clear, because a friend of mine, Kyla, I don't know if she's still on here, but she pointed this out the other day. I was actually in the Starbucks drive-through, but it's not about Starbucks. Anyways, I was in the drive-through and she said it. I said, health is wealth, because without the health and taking care of yourself, you can't generate wealth. And I made a comment about, well, I ate all my wealth. Like, so here's the thing. When you have that generational trauma around money, when you come from, low income and you don't have that, you're not able to do things. The moment the money is beautifully sitting in your account, your checking or your savings, you start to indulge in high-end restaurants. You're drinking bottles of wine, not a glass of wine, bottles of wine at your table. And over the last, I would say probably 6 years, I end up scaling up to 300 pounds because I could. I fed myself because I financially was good enough that I didn't have to, skim on certain things at the grocery store or at the restaurant. I didn't have to budget. I'm okay. And that led me down a road where I was 300 pounds, a year ago, almost a year ago in like April 27th. And then I really came to the mindset as what Megan talked about, health as well, where I'm like, okay, girl, yeah, you have the money, you can do all these things, but does it mean that you have to heal from whatever happened where you were fearful that you couldn't eat these things, you couldn't do these things, you couldn't go to these restaurants. You had your fun time, as Kyla said. You did it, girl. You had your fun time. Now I'm going to use, money I have now to invest in my health, go to the gym, eat healthier foods that are really expensive and all these things and take supplements. So I wanted to mention that because that is around, not only what Megan said, but also what Kenya says, that is trauma for you to make money and start indulging and feeding your face till you get to 300 pounds is insane. It is insane. And it is trauma triggering, and health is definitely wealth. And this brings me to my question to Megan. Um, Megan, with your brand, even your better brand, how does your brand reflect your self-love journey of yourself?
I'm not crying tonight because I'm working on that. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I had to learn to get my headset. My work computer did something funny earlier. But I would say the brands, like my brand that I'm known for is Megan Better, so the better life. Um, the story that came out of PlayStation. So if you guys have kids who play games, it came literally from PlayStation Network. That's how I got this name, Call of Duty. But it's not, I always tell people it's not about better than anybody, it's about better than me, like besting myself daily. So the better life is, although it is like indulgence and opulence, it's opulence for you, indulgence for you. So it's just about like being better than who I was before. So it's like how that reflects into money is that um I didn't know we were poor until I got into my 20s, and I was like, oh, we were poor people. My mom was like, well, I made the choice to struggle and live in certain neighborhoods to get you guys set up for educations. That way, you weren't around these certain mindsets to keep you limited. She's like, so she also says I'd rather struggled than have like maybe lived in a different area and you guys had more. And I, until I have my own kids, I don't have thoughts on that yet. And I'm not a
Oh,
mom yet.
girl, you
But
don't. No, you don't.
so yeah, I don't have thoughts on that. She did what she had to do at the time, but I would say I was very scared of money. So like I would have money and then I felt like, okay, well, I need to keep it. Or if I had a lot of it, I was like, I can spend it now versus like, I think in kind of over the last, I will say 2 years, I'm very much like money's going to come, money's going to go. And I remember like having my first kind of client and I just couldn't make it work. I was like, what you want me to do? This is the price. And if you can't pay it, I can't do it. And I was so scared pressing send on that email. And I was like, there goes a couple grand out the door. And I was like, that's it. Within 2 days, I had another order, the same amount. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? And that universe is not always that clear and that gracious. I get that. But being able to kind of exhale and be like, you know what? The money's going to come and the money's going to go. It'll be okay. And I say that not to be frivolous with your money, but I took a lot of therapy for sure. Quick aside, I had a lot of people in my family die very young, very young. So I very much lived in like a live for today, live fast, like the money's here, have fun stuff, you could be gone tomorrow. And like that can be a bit of a scary, morbid reality for some people who have like back to back losses at a younger age. And then I got to the age where I was like, okay, what if I do make it? And what if I like live a long life and I live a healthy life? And I was like, I need some, because I guess I was like, I'll never retire. And I was like, oh my God, I can't retire. And it was a whole like month long thing of, I have no money, I can't retire. I can't work forever. This can't be my life. It's not good. So like, okay, what do we need to put in place today to like be good to myself, to change myself? And like kind of that mindset around money goes into everywhere else. So it goes into, I always jokingly, I will say like I'm having a staff meeting with me, myself, the other versions of me. But sometimes there'll be times where I want to spend money and I'm like, no, your future self is going to need that. And the future self could be next month, like 2 months, next year on the road. But the future self moment will come and I'm like, I was like, look at us, self. We save that money. We need the
We
money.
did
The money's here. And it sounds crazy, all this third person talk, but I promise you,
works.
I'm a neurodivergent person. It works for me. I need to talk myself through things. You do what works for you. But I think being able to understand what you need, how you need it, being kind going through it, because there is still like a lot of shame around money, at least I won't say as much as I used to have, but just people don't know what they don't know. So like the money management is really where my shame kind of dwells, not so much in whether I had it or didn't, because I was none the wiser, but it's how I've come to find out how the money was mismanaged and kind of reliving that without knowing it at the time. And then once I found it, I was like, oh no, we have to do better. Hashtag better life, the better brand. And I was like, we have to do better. So just talking about it, like talk to your parents. Like I haven't know my parents bought a home, they lost a home. And I was like, you guys lost it. I thought we just moved to move. She's like, no. I said, well, that would have been good to know at the time instead of me thinking, you know, I'm not good enough. I don't have a home. You guys had a home and the kids and two cars. And, I'm 30 plus with none of it. And I feel like I'm running a race and I'm like, oh, well, you guys messed up a bit. And like, it's okay. You didn't know better either. But like, share that story. Like, if you have kids, like, tell them there are things that kids can know at a certain age that will help and that will make a difference if you just tell them, hey, I didn't do good with this, you should do better than this. And like just sharing the information, like I'm constantly trying to tell my family, like come to bank with, like, if you bank here, not that you have to bank in banks, or like credit unions are great too, but I'm like, your banking is free if you bank where I work. They've extended that to my household, like, come, the NSFs are always
Oh, well,
waived.
hold
Of like,
on. Can I
it's
move
a
in?
household thing, it's an address thing.
Oh, girl, you should never
So
tell
I'm
me that. I
sorry.
love
But if you
Scotiabank
but
too.
I'm just saying, yes, if you have people that work at Scotiabank, there's a household thing, all of that. But I'm like, I see them complain about fees and I'm like, come bank here. So like even like the mindset shift, like once you get there, I'm sure we've all been through it where you try to impart that wisdom on somebody else and they're like very like, no, this is my thing. It's working for me. I don't want to do it that way. It's my money. And it's like, yes, I understand it's your money, but I can see the forest of the trees right now. Try it this way. Do you think this is good? So I think meeting yourself where you're at has always kind of been the biggest thing. And being, like Tia mentioned earlier, you all mentioned earlier in different ways, being honest. Like Ava said, we need to start base level. Like, do you know what you have going on here? Because if you don't, we actually can't go anywhere until we clear this mess up here. So like know yourself, and we're all messy. We're all messy people trying
Early.
to just having a human experience in the messiness of the world, and especially this mess of the world. I'm a millennial. I don't know if I'll own a home. I would love to. I feel like maybe I should talk to Ava after this. We can figure out how I can get to owning a home as a 30 something year old woman. But I just give yourself the grace. Nobody has it together. Like internet is a highlight reel. I promise you. People are without homes, flying on trips on Klarna. And like there's no shame in using Klarna if it helps you budget. Yes, but the key is do not spend money you don't have. And that's a hard thing to get out of because people, they're like, I got a new job. I'm planning out my paycheck. The paycheck you haven't got yet. And then, so, be realistic. Look at the money that's on the table. And it's okay to save money. Like, I look forward now to having money still left in my accounts after my pay. That was never a thing 5 years ago. And like, I worked at a bank 5 years ago. So, like, also knowing that, like, people are approachable at banks. Like, I had horrible credit. And people thought you had to have a good credit score to work at a bank. I said, no, we are people like you all. That's why when we tell you things, it's mostly from experience. It's not just in the manual book. It's what we know. It's what we lived. People here have filed bankruptcy. I can tell you that 110% that they have. It is normal. It happens. I have one credit card. I had three at one time. Why did I have three? I had no need to have three. I wanted one for this, one for that, maxed them all out, lost my job. I lost my job at the bank and they were like, sis, we don't care. Pay us our money. There's nothing because you were an employee, fix it. And I was like, you know what? Me and credit cards, AKA monopoly money, don't go together.
Make money. Yeah, I
And
got
so I
one
was like,
credit card too.
and the discipline I had to put in for money is what I had to put in for food, is what I had to put in for fitness, what I had to put in for boundaries emotionally with people and in life. So go back to like kind of the beginning of what we all said, like especially Tanya, like it starts with you. You have to like really fix you. And it all came together when I started like doing therapy for real. I was like, this is spreading everywhere like a little plague all around my life. So the brand is about I'm a long-winded person. I'm so sorry. The better brand is about like being better than I was before. And I don't take the time to look back as often as I should, but I can look back and be like, wow, you have like money in your TFSA now. You have investments. You're getting into trading. And all these things sound like, oh, wow, it's so high. But like, I promise you, I knew nothing about it. But I just took the time. I was like, I don't want to be behind. I want to be with the big dogs. The big dogs are trading, they're investing. If you are like leery of the markets, I feel like right now I tell people like, I'm buying. I know people like, oh, it's the dip. Don't buy the dip this time, or don't buy when it's crashing because we don't know if it's the lowest point. It's on sale. That's how I explain to people. I was like, the stocks are on sale. So when you go to your favorite store and the jeans are on sale, you buy two or three. Treat your finances that way. If you're in the market and things are going down, it's on sale. Buy more. If you're worried about saving, now is the time to save because things will go more. Don't keep it in your checking account. People like things under the mattress. There's no interest under the mattress. There's literally no interest under your mattress. I know I work for the big five. I know we're scary. We are bad people. I do my best to change that attitude because I don't believe in selling things to you. I always tell people I'm here to solve. I'm not here to sell. I don't need to meet my quota. My paycheck is based on me showing up every day, not if you open a new account or you buy a credit card. And like people that offer services outside of banks, like Ava, go to them. It's so great to have people outside of a bank because we have such a bad rap, and I get it. And that's why I took the job I did because I'm a black woman. My job is only virtual, so I'm just on camera. So like my manager said, why do you want this job? I said, because there's nobody black in this position, and people need to come into this bank and see me and know, oh, I don't have to explain this to her.
Gets it. She
She's
gets it.
going to treat me like a person. We can have this chat. I have black women clients, and they're like, girl, we opened the meeting with girl, and I'm like, yes. I was like,
Yeah.
so just be kind to yourself, be gracious, try. You'll fall apart with anything, you'll fall off. You just try again. But the fact that you fell off and you recognize you did means that you will get back to it. And eventually you might not fall off as often and then you'll just stop. But starting is the best thing. It's cliche, start now. I wish I would have started younger. Like I think we all do, but start now. Open your bank account, print your statements off from the last 6 months or when you're doing your taxes. Look at what you've made and look at where your money's gone. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not and like don't judge it. Just treat it like you're a third party. It's an observation. This money went here. You can think about why later with your therapist. Just be like, oh, I spent like 10 grand here this year. I don't know where it's at now. I ate it all. I drank it all. I shopped
Smoked
it
it.
all. So I'm here to say that, but be kind and treat yourself well in the process of unlearning and relearning and be better.
That part,
So
that part. Oh my, Megan, come on. Everything you just said, 1000%.
so Megan actually played with her camera and let it go because she knew she was coming back with a whole slam dunk. You played us, Megan. You knew exactly what you were about to do. And you had it right up your sleeve when it's totally okay. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I hope people really took a lot of that information because it was real information from someone that's fairly young. She's in her 30s. I'm 45. And if I had, the insight that Megan had, if I had it when I was 30, I wouldn't have had to take so long to get to where I'm at. So Megan, you're so far ahead of the game, girl. Keep doing what you're doing. You're right on time. You are right on time. Um, the next one, we are getting tight on time, so we're gonna do one more question for everybody. And this is kind of a big question, but not really. What are some beliefs or mindset blocks that you often see for Black women that's holding them back financially? Tiang, I see you shaking your head. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the big one I see often is the core wound and belief of I am not enough. I
Mm-hmm.
am not good enough. So the not
Yeah,
enough core wound. And so you'll never have what it is you want in any regard, including money, if you believe and have the core wound of I'm not enough.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say that
I
for
love that.
people.
That's perfect. Because that is, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys who are on here tonight can say that you went through that, but I did. Literally. You're not worthy. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. Who do I think I am to be able to have what I have? And that does hold you back. But once you get past that, you're taking it all. You're getting all the coins, all the bags. You're just going hard. Um, Megan, I see you shaking your head.
Immediately, I was just like giving family money. And like that's just, I know it's a privilege and a luxury, but I had to really change my mind around that because oof, anyway, I just had to fix my mind around that. And it was hard. I've done a lot of boundary work, but that has probably been the hardest. Like, no, I don't have it. And like maybe I do, but it could be like my last. And then I know I'm not going to get it back or it might not be on time. And I don't want to hear about how I'm family. I have the rich auntie stereotype. And I always tell the kids, I'm not rich. I don't care what your parents tell you. I don't have money. There's no extra money. I get a call every day. Can you send me $40 for first? No. Do you know how much $40 equals like 4 times a week, 5 times a week? And I was like, and why are you calling me with this? You didn't ask me how my day was. You didn't tell me your grades. nothing. So the family thing has been the biggest. And I mean, people older than me and younger than me. And I had to really say no. Or, if it is the kids, I'm just like, what did your parents say? What do your grades look like? When your report card comes, we can have a discussion about it. I love the kids. They're always going to get over on me financially. And so I put money aside usually just to have in case they call me anyways. But if you are like me and like people call it the black tax, there's somebody who is successful or on their way to being successful and they have the what looks like excess income or excess money and they're like, oh well, you should have it because you don't have these responsibilities or you don't have your own family or you don't have kids, so why can't you? And it's almost like an entitlement of like it's ours, it's yours, like I helped raise you, or like I took care of your parents, or I took care of you. And it's like, whoa, 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 let's have a bigger conversation about like why you need this money from me. And like let's also work on how I can help you maybe manage that a bit better. But no is a complete sentence in boundaries, both like emotionally but financially. Do An older relative of mine said I got into the whole doing that with my own family. And he's like, I promise you, if you do it, I will slap you myself. He was like, do not get caught up in that giving money to family business. He's like, because they will take until there's nothing left and they will leave. And so I'll leave
And
you
then
with
when you
that.
can't give it, when they can't, you can't give it because you really don't have it, you become the villain
Yeah,
and they forget that
I
you
like being
ever
the
did
villain.
anything.
The villains
Yeah.
have good outfits. I'm okay with that.
Okay, girl. Yes, get your outfit on. Takia, what about you? Making kills me.
I know, I'm just cracking up over here. So I think some of the barriers, one of the biggest barriers we have, because we're talking about just, I'm talking about just like us being Black women, right? And just being in this society, is just having that oppressive state of mind, right? Like we're being hit by our own negative thoughts. We're being hit by generational like teachings that came down. Like, don't do that. That's not what we're supposed to do. Stay underneath the radar. We have all this stuff going on in our head. Then also we have society, because let's be real, we live in Nova Scotia where they see your color before they see you, right? And so it's all of that. It's that oppressiveness that is just kind of like stuck on our chest, and that in itself, like even just that them calling us a marginalized community, marginalized is another word that was just pushed on us because it literally just means that
Just got
we're
brought
treated
up, just got made
inferior.
up. Yeah, it's a new
Yeah,
word. New word that
you
came out.
know.
There'll be another one in November. You watch.
But yeah, we're just kind of like pushed into this state of mind, and it's not our fault, any of it. Like we come from our ancestors were like kings, queens, and chiefs. Like we were like freaking amazing people. Like even just and I try and talk to my kids about this too, because my son's starting to ask questions. They're 10 now. So like it's like, no, we came from some very strong individuals, and we have that within us. We have the ability to do it. And I think that that's the biggest barrier is just societal stuff and stuff from way back when before we were even here.
Girl, that's the whole, you were looking to do a whole initiative around that topic. Thank you very much, Takia. I loved it though. The more you talk to Takia, the more open she gets. When you first hear her, she's really quiet, very standoffish. But when she gets moving, it's big. She has a lot of information to put out there. So I love it. I wish it wasn't almost time. I would have had this version of Takia right at 7 o'clock, but or 6 o'clock. I want to get you next time. You got a workshop coming up. Ava, what about you?
I think it's the same story I've been saying over and over again, Tia, is that we let shame, fear, all those negative things get in the way of taking the next step. And the next step for all of you that are on this call, and if you're like, I deserve to be heard, I deserve to understand, I deserve to learn and be at this time next year a whole different place. And if that's how you feel, get going. Find your person. Find the person that's going to treat you with respect, who will answer your questions, that won't be looking at their watch like this saying, you've got 15 minutes with me, right? That's what you deserve, is a person who's going to give that to you, because we all deserve to get to that place where we have peace of mind and wealth. And so that's my advice to you guys all. Thank you.
I feel bad because I only give 15 minutes to people with my consultations, girl. Now you got me feeling bad, second guessing it. But that's in business. But everybody has access to me through Black Women in Excellence. So you know, there's a two-part to it, right? Time is money, ROI on time, all that stuff. I literally loved each and every one of your guys' answers, and I couldn't agree more with you guys on your answers, even combined. It's very strongly stated. And I don't even have to piggyback on any of it because it was right to the fact. And I'm hoping that anybody that was here tonight gets a clearer picture of, number one, the opportunities that awaits for them to, you know, reach out to any of you guys to do work with them. Not saying it's free, but they are professionals in their fields and are really good at what they do. So that's the first, you know, takeaway they should be looking at is, and I will be putting Takia's, Megan's, Tanya's, and Ava's emails in the chat shortly so you guys can reach out to them. But this was absolutely amazing, and I want this conversation to keep going. I see Sharbar said, I'm all here for the workshops. You know, we have Thrive in Black happening, and Thrive in Black, they're going to be in person, they're not going to be on Zoom. Each one of these guys, except for Megan, but Megan will be doing food. Halifax Charcuterie, dropping that in there. Anyways, we have Takia, Tanya, and Ava, who will all be hosting a workshop between now and November. It's going to be happening quite quickly. And if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to drop in the website for Thrive in Black, and that is directed towards Black women on how to heal through trauma, how to heal through financial management, how to learn how to invest, how to look on your budget, how to heal through candle making, how to heal, you know, if you're dealing with domestic abuse or gender-based violence, the list goes on. So I do want to say thank you to our panelists. But before I let you go, I'm going to let anybody who wants to come on and ask a question and who didn't want to put it in the chat, because some people they want to ask. So we have 20 minutes. Who wants to ask a question? No one? I'm surprised. Oh, go ahead, Sharbar.
Sorry, I had my baby on me, so I haven't been able to dig on the video. But if you're ever interested again, Miss Tia, in the group investment, I would like to, because I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, I'm with it.
Oh, I'll reach out to you then. Thank you. I got your
Yes.
email. And anybody have any hands up besides Shars? If there's no questions, you guys, I'm going to start putting the emails for each individuals in here. If you just give me a moment. Sorry, my computer is slow tonight. I usually have everybody's email right off the top of my list because I talk to them so often, especially Takia. We've been in communication like every other day for the last month. So Halifax,
yeah,
go ahead.
I meant to tell you tomorrow, because you're starting a class for me the same time I'm doing a class for you tomorrow night. So yeah, I noticed that afterwards it's like, oh shoot, I'm double booked. But the chair of my board will be on I'll send you an email about it. She'll be on to be there
Oh,
with you.
how am I going to do that? I didn't even realize that, darling.
It's all good.
We're talking about workplace education, you guys. We're both facilitators, but we're facilitating for each other's organizations starting tomorrow night. Halifax Charcuterie is in there. Then we have Tanya's in here. I don't know if I put Tanya's. Sorry, Tanya, this may not be your business one, but that's the first one that came up, darling. Don't kill me. Tanya didn't say nothing, so I think it's good.
Oh,
I put
Tia,
mine
it looks
in
like
there.
Tamara's got her hand up.
Yeah,
I'll get in a sec. I just have to put these in. I see you're there. And then we have Takia. Okay, Tamara, go ahead. Chicky.
I don't really have a question.
Yes,
but
you do. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to all of the panelists. I don't know if you noticed, I turned my camera off as soon as Tanya started because I started to get emotional. But the session was needed.
Mhm.
was
Oh,
needed. It was
Mhm.
like the knowledge that you all dropped was, I'm getting emotional again.
Let
it's
those
okay.
emotions
It's
come up.
okay.
Let those come up.
So it's okay.
We got
Yeah.
you, girl. You know we got you.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
you. We got you, Tamara.
Yeah. Remember what I told you, Tamara, chocolate and Kleenex is always in my office, right? Because there is so much, we carry so much baggage, honey.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to say thank you because the session had its, like, it was just so real. So much knowledge was, provided tonight. And I laughed, I was intrigued, and I cried.
Mm.
So, I mean, like, I really enjoyed it. But when Tanya started with the finances being emotional,
Mm.
that took me off the edge.
Yeah, emotions
No.
are a beautiful thing because emotions are teachers if you're open to it. The emotions are here, they're trying to teach you something. So just look at it. And if you want some help looking at it, my email's in there. Reach out.
Thanks, Tamira. On a brighter note, Tamira is graduating from my NSCC program in a few weeks. And she's doing
Amazing.
some wonderful things. And she just graduated from our 6-week accelerator program. And I think part of this tonight for her is going to revolutionize exactly where she's going to. So she's in a transition. That's why I think she's emotional, because I've watched the transition with Tamira for 10 months now. So she's on the other side where it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable, but it's needed. So I'm excited for her, even though she, is emotional tonight. That emotion is something's changing. And I can't wait to be here for it and witness it. And Tamira, when I see you May 31st at the event, I'll give you a hug. How about that?
Okay, I look forward to it.
And I'm not a huggy anyways, but I'll do it for you. Any other questions? Keisha said, thank you, such a good panel, great knowledge. Congratulations, Tamira, Bar, sorry, clap hands, clap, a lot of comments. I think this panel was absolutely wonderful again, absolutely wonderful. Couldn't ask for better panelists. And again, I put in the chat, BWIE Thrive in Black. If you're interested to come to any of the workshops, they are about, some of them are 2 hours, some of them are 4 hours. Food is provided. They are absolutely all free, funded by the Nova Scotia Foundation, Nova Scotia Health Foundation, Mental Health Foundation. Geez. Funded by them. So everything is completely free. And you're not only going to be, educated by some of these wonderful individuals, but you're going to meet other women who are just like you, that you can build a sisterhood with and build your tribe. And that's the most important thing. And what BWIE really pushes out there is to, empower and educate and inspire one another and lift as you climb. So if anybody, has any questions about anything from tonight, please feel free to reach out to any of the panelists, and reach out to me anytime if you want to chat about, business, because I'm business first, business. And if you don't, thank you guys for all joining us. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Yay.
Thanks so much, Tia.
Bye.
It was lovely.
Thanks, everyone.
Lovely to meet you
Thanks,
all.
Tia.
Take
This
care.
is great. Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Take care.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Bye.
beautiful.
Thanks, Tia.
You're absolutely welcome. You guys are